Hey everyone, Tish Griffin here with Family Credit Management, and I am your financial guru here to just provide you information on money management, credit, on dealing with your debt, on getting your finances back on track. Whatever questions you have regarding your finances, that is why I am here. I'm here to provide that information from you. Now, if you do not get an opportunity, or if you feel like you really need to talk to someone about your finances and get things back on track, I want you to call Family Credit Management at 800-994-3328. Use Family Credit as a resource. You can also chat online with a counselor at familycredit.org. So that website is great. It's got some helpful tools. It's got some things that you can use on there. I promise you, you will love the budget guide that's available for you to download for free. Again, look at that website, familycredit.org. It's got some great tools for you to actually use and help you get your finances back under control. Right there, you've got the course on personal finance made easy and 100 small ways to save big. And we are going to be talking about ways to tighten your budget today. So that is a great resource for you to use. Go online to familycredit.org and grab that and see about some helpful tips that will help you with your finances and your money. Again, we are talking about tightening up that budget. Yes, a lot of people think budgeting is just not fun, and it doesn't really sound fun, does it? They think it's not for them, it's not a helpful tool, something that doesn't work. I've heard people say, oh, it's only for rich people, it's only for poor people. Guess what? Budgeting is for everyone. And in order for your finances to work, you need to have a goal in mind. You need to have a plan in place. And that's what this budget will help you do. Now, people don't like to use the term budget anymore either. So they use spending plan. They say, let's look at your spending plan. And you've got to have a plan for your finances together in order to survive. The last few years, we have seen some major changes with finances, with our budgeting, with our retirement funds being drained, our savings being drained, and the inability to work all the time like we need to be able to get the funds and provide for our families, right? So we don't want to be stuck in those situations. We want to be able to be proactive with our finances, to figure out how can I save more. I don't want to necessarily spend. I want to make sure that my family is taken care of. If something were to happen, I want to know that those bills are paid. So how do we do that? We need to look at tightening up those budgets. And one thing that I want to point out is right now, over the next few months, beginning effective with September 1st, guess what? We are going to have to start making student loan payments again. Yes, for the past 3 years or so, they have been delayed, deferred. We have not had to make payments on them. We haven't had to worry about the interest accruing on it. But September 1st, that all changes because August 30th, our luck runs out. Again, we're thinking that, hey, maybe they'll extend it again, or, there's something that's going to happen with the student loans and they'll wipe them all away. But keep this in mind. I want you to be prepared. It's better to be prepared to start making those payments again. And there's really not a chance of any type of relief for student loans happening anytime soon, because what a lot of people don't realize is that all of those chances have been used up. So if something new were to come along with that in the future, hopefully it does. But right now, we don't want to bank on that. We don't want to plan on that. We need to plan on the fact that, guess what? Student loan payments are coming. And you need to say, hey, do I have the extra money needed in my budget? Remember, talking about budget tightening. Do I have that extra money to go to the student loan servicers? Now, a lot of people are going to say, not really, or I haven't paid this long, it's going to be a stress on my budget. It's going to add stress to my finances. I won't be able to afford food. I won't be able to pay my regular bills, trying to pay those bills. So what can I do? You need to take a moment, find out what it is that you're dealing with, look at all of those student loan accounts and get something in place. There are programs available when you're dealing with your student loans. First off, you need to know how many student loans you have out there. And when you're doing that, there's a report, just like a credit report for student loans. You can get that at the U.S. Department of Education. Go to their website, U.S. Department of Education. Look up their website. It's ed.gov and get that report. It's going to list every student loan you have ever taken, whether it's been closed, whether it's been consolidated, paid off, it'll have those listed there, and it'll have your current ones as well. I suggest that because sometimes there's student loans out there that we don't even think about. They could be with multiple servicers and we haven't heard of them, we don't remember. So this gives you a great place to start. After you get that list from the U.S. Department of Education, you can take that, go to your student loan servicers, and either look at consolidation to put all of those student loans into one and get one payment. Great thing to do. Or look at seeing what other options are out there as well as far as setting up payment arrangements. When you get a student loan payment, keep in mind they want you to pay off student loans within 10 years. So if you've got $100,000 in student loans, guess what? They want you to pay $1,000 a month until that debt is paid off. And yes, you are paying interest on your student loans. Interest accrues daily on those student loans. So it's very important to make those payments. Now you may say, well, I know I've got $100,000, $200,000, but I can't afford to make that type of payment. I'm struggling with the bills that I have. I can't make a $1,000 payment on student loans because I can't even pay $500 on this bill or that bill, right? That's normal. Not normal to feel that way, but I want you to know that a lot of people struggle with that. And that's why there are options out there. The student loan service providers do have options for repayment for you. So you want to look at doing a plan. First off, the plan again is going to stretch out for 10 years. That's when they want you to be paid off. But if you get help, there is a repayee plan that says that right now you're not making too much. We know that, so you can just pay as you earn. So every 3 years, that payment will reset and it will increase and increase and increase until you get to the end and you're paying a huge amount at the end, okay? You can do that. Or you can do an income-based repayment plan. And the income-based repayment plan right now, they're based on your discretionary income. So that means after you pay your bills, after you pay your housing expenses, your auto expenses, the discretionary portion that you have left, this is what can go towards your student loans. And when you set this plan up, you're talking to a counselor over the phone, you're talking to a representative from the student loan servicer, and they're looking at what your best interest is. They're trying to figure out what payment will work for you. You're giving them your bills. You may have to send them documentation as well, but a lot of times they'll come back with a smaller payment, which ranging anywhere from $0 to however much they feel. It could be a few $100s, but for the most part, I see people with payments that are under $100. And you're paying this on all of the student loans, and that payment is set to run for the next, 10, 15, 20 years or so. Depending on when that time period ends on the income-based repayment plan, whatever's left should be forgiven because you've paid all of this money towards it so far. So you want to make sure that you're looking at getting on an income-based repayment plan or using the repayee or pay as you earn method of repayment. There's not a quick fix to getting out of student loans because it takes so much to pay them off. So if these plans can help you, then do that. Now, for some people that have their student loan forgiveness, depending on where you work, what sector you work in, and some of those loans can be forgiven, but for a lot of people, it's not a huge option for them. A lot of times it doesn't even work out. So you want to look at these other plans as well, just in case, even if you're dependent on the student loan forgiveness, just in case it doesn't work out, at least you have this in place as well, and it's not affecting your credit. Because guess what? If you don't pay your student loans, your credit takes a hit. That's right. Student loans affect your credit report. A lot of people don't realize that their credit they feel is bad because the student loans have become past due and delinquent. Now, a student loan can get to the point where it's so delinquent that it charges off. That is not even showing up on your credit report anymore, but you still owe them because it's so old. It could be 20 years old and it's still affecting you because now, guess what? Let's say you go to get a home. If you go to purchase a home, there's a great chance that on a deeper background check for this home, that your bad student loan debt will pop up. And it'll show that you've defaulted on it. It'll show that it charged off. And it'll show that you still need to pay that student loan before you can get a house. So that's why it's important to not ignore those things. Get on that income-based repayment plan. Even if it's telling you that your payment is $0 or $2, at least you have that in place, because now your credit report will show that that account is in good standing because you've got those arrangements set. That's the one thing that you can count on. Those student loan servicers report to the credit bureaus, and there's no way that you can overlook a government debt like that as well. It will come back no matter how much you think you can possibly get rid of. I've heard people say, oh, I can get rid of student loans. No, the only way to truly get rid of a student loan is to pay it in full. Again, if your student loans have gone so far delinquent that they've charged off, they've been written off, you have collection agencies coming after you, could have attorneys coming after you, they could be garnishing your wages. There are still a couple of options that are available through your student loan servicer to help get things back on track. They have a redemption period and a remediation that can take place on a student loan to get it back in good standing, and you can start making payments on it again. But that process, you have to request something because you can only do it once. After that, they'll start coming after you. So you want to keep those student loans in good standing because they do, they affect your credit. They really do. So again, we're looking at ways to tighten up our budget. If you feel like that student loan payment that is about to start back September 1st, remember that September 1st, those student loan payments start back. So you want to make sure that you can account for that in your budget. And if you can't get on the repayment plans, look at the repayment options, look at consolidating for a smaller payment. Do something because it is going to affect your budget. It's going to affect your credit, and you want to keep things in good standing. Again, we're trying to tighten our budget. What are some ways we can tighten our budget? Of course, looking at that debt is going to help tremendously if you've got student loans. Next thing you want to do is while you're going over your finances and you're looking at how much you got coming in each and every single month, you're looking at your income, you're looking at your output, what you're spending. You want to keep track of your spending. You want to keep track of everything that you're doing. It's a lot of times it takes a lot to stay disciplined when it comes to your finances and you're working on repaying those debts, you're repaying those obligations. It takes a lot of time, dedication to get started. But once you get started doing that, it's so much easier for you to keep track of everything that you are doing, and you'll know that your finances are in good standings. So what are some ways that we can look at tightening our budget? Now, we talk about looking at income, we talk about looking at expenses all the time. What are actual things that we can do day to day? Right now, we're all being affected by the rise and the increase of all products. People are losing jobs left and right, and it's only going to get worse. So we want to make sure that we are down to the bare bones in our budget so that we can save whatever discretionary income we have left. We really do need to make sure that we're saving and saving in the right vehicles. So when you're looking at, let's say, take for instance, grocery shopping. Groceries have increased so much over the past few months. Now, every now and then we see things going back down. We catch a good sale. So you want to keep your eyes on those sales papers. Use coupons. Coupons are available. Different stores have different options. Make sure you use those. And you don't want to overspend buying bulk, especially if I'm not going to use this item right away. It could possibly go bad. It's just going to sit there. So you want to think about those decisions too. Is it better to buy, let's say, 10 pounds of flour if you know you're not going to use it? No, that's a waste of money. So look at a smaller option, see if you can find the best price for you. With the use of technology, online tools, different apps that are out there, you can do a search and see how much something costs. Every grocery staple item, you can look up the cost of butter. You can look up the cost of sugar and see what stores near you will offer a cheaper price. Also, keep in mind when we're going to the store, going back into the past, going to the stores, you never want to go hungry. Big thing. You will buy so much that you don't need or don't want if you go while you're hungry. A lot of the stores nowadays also offer fast food items as well. But if you look at the price on those fast food items, they are a lot. So anytime you can cut down on that, try and do so. Now think about if you go to the store, the grocery store, for example, you want to have a list set. If you're visiting, General merchandise store, you always want to have a list set. Keep in mind that you want to focus on what's on your list and not stray from it. No matter how much something looks or how many times you see an item, because guess what? That's part of why they want you to come into the store, to look at all the items so that you can put them all in your shopping cart and spend more than you planned on. So sticking to that list helps. Don't buy anything over the list. Also, keep in mind that when you're looking at an item, there's typically a name brand item and a store equivalent or generic item. But a lot of times they use these same products. So you want to say, how much is this one? And how much can I save? Even like cookies. I looked at a store the other day and cookies were $7 a pack for a regular pack of cookies that cost $3 2 years ago. So you want to think about, do I really need that? Or is there a cheaper option? Is there another store that I can buy at where I can get that option? And when you walk around the stores, keep in mind that when you're doing your store rounds, the products that are the most expensive are the ones that are in eye view. A lot of times if you're looking, let's say you're looking for a different sauce, a spaghetti sauce. You go to the pasta aisle and you're looking at the sauce. Notice that the sauce at the top are the name brand sauces that are $8, almost $10 for this little jar. But then if you look down a little bit lower, you've got the cheaper brands, okay? If you look at the bottom, might even be the most inexpensive item for you, but it still works. So you want to take some time, do some research, see how much more. Am I going to spend $9 on this one or $4 on this, and now I have $5 to spend on something else? Again, we want to tighten our budget. This is ways that we do that. Also keep in mind that the staples around the stores, the outside, that's where the majority of the things that we need are poultry and meats, the vegetables, the eggs and dairy, butter, all of that are on the outside of the stores. When you walk in those aisles, that's where you're going to be spending the money. So keep that in mind too. Again, use the coupons, look at what the stores are offering, look at how much you can save, and then also pay attention to your receipts too. Look at them after you leave out and see, okay, how much did I actually save? Did I use any coupons? And a lot of times it'll tell you that what your savings are, depending on what store you're at. It'll tell you what your savings are when you go in. Now, what are some other things that we can do to look at tightening up our budget? Another thing that I see all the time people taking advantage of is online shopping. And oh my God, the retailers love it when you shop online. The bad part about shopping online is you can't try an item on. You don't know what it really is. And a lot of times you're left guessing until you actually get it. When you go to the store, you know what you're getting yourselves into, but online you really don't. So a lot of times I've seen people be taken advantage of for one item that may look extremely well on someone else on the advertisement, such a cute picture, and you get it and it's not the same color. It does not look like the same item. The size is off. But at that point you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to send it back. What can I do? And I see so many people struggle with this. I don't want to send it back. That's embarrassment. I don't want to go to the post office. No one wants to leave home. But guess what? That's what they're banking on. If a retailer sends people out the wrong item, or the item that's not it doesn't look like whatever they ordered, how many people are actually going to return it and ask for a refund? No one's going to do anything about it. They're going to keep doing this. So that's what they want. They want people to question the quality, the way things are made, and do nothing about it. Because guess what? They can get someone else. They can get a new person to come in and buy that item too. They've already made the money off of you. So think about those things when you're buying online. You can also look at the reviews of a purchase. And guess what? You can look up that item and see if you can find it somewhere else cheaper. That's the best thing you can do. Even when you're walking in a store, with the use of our phones nowadays, we can scan an item's UPC code and see if it's offered somewhere else. It'll tell you if it's somewhere down the street cheaper. These are ways that we can tighten our budget. And then we want to also look at what are those things that we can cut out of our budget as well. Because a lot of times we've got those spending leaks, those money drains, those things that we don't even think about that really are draining our wallets. Like it could be something simple as when I go into the gas station, I get pop every single time I go in. I'm spending an extra dollar than I intended. I'm already spending 20 million on gas, but I'm going to add this extra dollar to get something to drink. I might need something to eat. There's restaurants down the street. We may go out a lot. What are some ways that you can save there? Keep in mind that if you're going to a chain restaurant, use loyalty cards. Those are some ways that you can tighten your budget. And then look again on the website, Family Credit's website, 100 Small Ways to Save Big. That guide has some great tips that you can use to go through your budget and say, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe I can do this. I can reduce my spending this way. I can reduce this utility bill here. Or I can do this with my family instead of going out. We can have some time at home or come up with some creative things that we can do there. There's so many different ways for you to just reduce your spending, keep that money in your household, and be able to save for a stronger financial future. Again, we don't know what's going to happen over the next few months, so I wanted to bring those tips out for you to just be more aware, avoid those scams, avoid, spending money unnecessarily, and try to save more. I know it's hard. I know it's a challenge, but if you discipline yourself, you can do it. Again, you can reach out to a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328 or go online to familycredit.org and chat with a counselor directly. So we see you next time. And again, look at those student loan payments, get your plans in place, and I'll see you soon. Take care.